The smell of smoke still lingered in the kitchen, curling up from the iron I'd left face down on his stupid designer shirt. I didn't even mean to burn it. I just got distracted when the kettle whistled. But when he walked in and saw the brown scorch mark across the chest, his face turned the colour of blood. "You burned my Armani!" he shouted, holding it up like I'd murdered his dog. I opened my mouth to explain, but he didn't wait. His palm hit my cheek so fast, so hard, I barely registered the sting before I was stumbling back into the counter. It wasn't the slap that broke me. It was the way he looked at me after, cold, flat, like I wasn't a person anymore, like I was just something that ruined his stuff. And maybe I had, but the shirt? It wasn't even one he wore. I stood still for a long second, tasting copper in my mouth. Then I smiled. "What?" he snapped. I wiped my lip and turned away from him. My bag sat by the table, already packed. I pulled out a manila envelope and held it out to him. "You might want to sit down," I said. "You're going to hate this surprise." He didn't move at first. He just stared at it like it might explode. Then he grabbed it from my hand and tore it open. First thing he saw were the divorce papers. His name printed next to mine. A clean line between everything we once were and everything I was about to become. But that wasn't the surprise. Behind the papers were photos, screenshots, his texts to her, pictures of them together, bank statements. He flipped through them, face draining to white. "What is this?" he whispered. "Oh, just some receipts," I said. "You like evidence, right?" His mouth opened, but I turned and walked out of the kitchen, leaving the smell of burnt fabric and his silence behind me. I didn't slam the door. I didn't cry. I'd already done that months ago. Now it was his turn. A year before the slap, we were the couple everyone envied. Our Instagram was a highlight reel. Sunset hikes, champagne brunches, selfies at rooftop bars. He'd wrap his arm around me, flash his perfect smile, and caption it, "Lucky guy, heart eyes." The comments rolled in. Number couple goals. "You two are perfect. Wish I had this." And maybe, for a moment, I believed it too. He had the looks, the charm, the job that made people nod with respect when he introduced himself. I had the smile, the dresses he liked, and a talent for pretending everything was fine. It started small. He didn't like my red lipstick, said it made me look too available. Then it was the skirts. "Why are you wearing that to work? You're not trying to impress anyone, right?" I laughed it off. Changed. Every time. Because love meant compromise, didn't it? He didn't want me working with other men, said it made him uncomfortable, suggested I go part-time, or just focus on things at home. Eventually, I quit. He told our friends it was because we were planning for the future. I smiled through my teeth. Girls' nights became a problem. My best friend Jess, he called a bad influence. When I pushed back, he said I didn't need anyone but him. That's how love works, right? When I asked him why he never posted my pictures anymore, he said people were nosy, said privacy mattered, but he still had time to comment on random women's photos at 2 a.m. Said it meant nothing. I believed him, or tried to. We still looked perfect in public. We still held hands at dinner parties and laughed at the right moment. But behind closed doors, the air was tight, like I was always one wrong sentence away from a mood swing, or worse. The shirt wasn't even expensive, not like the suits he kept in plastic, or the colognes lined up like trophy. It was just cotton, faded. He hadn't worn it in months, but when I burned it, even by accident, it was like I'd lit a match to whatever illusion he had of control. The shirt wasn't the problem. The shirt was just the excuse. That was the moment I realized. He needed to feel in charge of something, anything, me, mostly. But by then, I'd already started keeping track, quietly, carefully. I smiled for the pictures. I played the role. But deep down, I was building a way out. Because once you stop pretending, the truth gets louder. And I was finally starting to listen. It started with the late night calls. At first, I believed him when he said it was work. His boss was a night owl, always needing updates, always texting. But the way he turned his back when he spoke, the way his voice dropped to a whisper, the sudden need to take his phone everywhere, even the bathroom, it didn't feel like work. He stopped leaving it on the charger at night, started sleeping with it under his pillow like a teenager with secrets, and he started locking it. Which was funny, because he used to brag about how open we were. "I have nothing to hide," he once told me. One night, he came home tipsy, the usual after-work drinks that turned into 2, then 4. He dropped his phone on the couch and went to the kitchen, humming some stupid song. That's when it lit up. Babe, can't stop thinking about last weekend. Miss you already. I stared at the name for 3 full seconds before I picked it up. My hands didn't even shake, not yet. I unlocked it. He hadn't cleared the screen. Rookie mistake. What I found wasn't just an affair. It was years of betrayal. Pictures of them on hotel balconies. Dates that lined up perfectly with weekends he said he was working late or out with the guys. Texts that mocked me, called me clingy, dead in bed, too soft. She asked him when he was leaving me. He replied, soon. Just need to get things lined up. She's not as dumb as she looks. I scrolled until I hit bank transfers. Money going to an account I'd never seen. Thousands. Some labelled as rent, others just blank. My chest was tight. Not because it hurt, though it did, but because it was so much worse than I thought. He didn't just cheat. He lied. He stole. And he planned to leave me like roadkill, and still smiled at me every morning like we were fine. I could have confronted him that night, screamed, thrown the phone, but I didn't. Instead, I took screenshots, every message, every photo, every receipt. I emailed them to myself, then to a lawyer. He thought I was clueless, but I was finally awake, and I was done playing dumb. After I found the messages, I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just went quiet. Quiet enough that he didn't notice anything had changed. During the day, I played my part, made him coffee, laughed at his bad jokes, kissed him goodbye like nothing was wrong. But the second he left the house, I got to work. I created a new email with a fake last name, started applying to remote jobs, anything that would let me work quietly from home without him suspecting. It took a few weeks, but finally, I landed a position doing freelance marketing for a small company based 2 states away. They didn't care about my name. They cared about my results. The pay was better than I expected. I opened a new bank account in a different bank, one I knew he never used. I had the checks sent to a P.O. box I opened under the same fake name. Every dollar I earned went into that account. I never touched our shared card. I never made a noise. Then I started draining our shared savings, slowly. $50 here, $100 there. I'd label it groceries or gas. He never checked. He thought I was still depending on him. That worked in my favor. Over a couple of months, I built up a small stash, just enough to feel like if I left, I wouldn't be stranded. I made a spreadsheet of everything I needed. New ID, new phone, cheap apartment listings, rental agencies that didn't ask too many questions. I even started packing small things, my childhood jewelry, spare keys, the old photos I actually cared about. I tucked them into a box labelled donations in the garage. He never looked twice. Then I got a second phone, cheap, prepaid. I kept it hidden in the back of my underwear drawer. That's the one I used to contact the lawyer. And the cameras? Those were easy, tiny black dots hidden in our living room, kitchen and hallway. Nothing fancy, just enough to capture what I already knew was coming. I needed proof, real, legal proof. He always thought he was smarter than me, always acted like he was the one in control. But while he was busy texting her in the dark, I was building my exit. He thought I was sitting still, that I was weak, but I wasn't waiting anymore. I was preparing, quietly, carefully, and soon he'd find out just how ready I really was. I started small, forgot to buy his protein powder, accidentally left his car keys in my coat pocket. Took too long to answer his texts. Each time, I watched his face, how quickly it shifted from calm to sharp, like flipping a switch. Then came the final test. He had this shirt, light blue, slim fit, with a tiny embroidered logo on the chest. He never wore it, but God forbid I touch it. He kept it pressed and sealed in a garment bag like it was sacred. So, of course, that's the one I chose. I waited until he was in the shower, laid the shirt on the ironing board, turned the iron too high, left it face down. I stood there and watched as the steam hissed and the fabric turned dark, then brown, then a soft black scorch in the center of the chest. It was almost too easy. When he walked into the kitchen and saw it lying there, his face went blank for a second, then something behind his eyes snapped. "What the hell is this?" he said, lifting the shirt like it was a dead animal. "I'm sorry," I said quietly. I got distracted. He didn't speak, just stared at me. "I'll buy you another one." He laughed. Just once, sharp and dry. "You think it's about the shirt?" His voice was rising. "You ruin everything. You can't even handle laundry. I kept my face calm. Inside, my pulse was pounding. Then he lost it, threw the shirt across the room, grabbed a half-empty glass bottle from the counter and hurled it at the wall. It exploded, shards raining down. He punched the cabinet door so hard it cracked. And all of it, every second, was caught on video. He didn't hit me this time, but he didn't need to. The damage was done. The rage, the violence, the way he shouted like I was a child, it was all there, raw, unfiltered. I didn't flinch. I just watched him, let him show exactly who he was. When he stormed off to the bedroom, muttering curses under his breath, I calmly walked to the corner of the room and picked up the tiny camera hidden in the flower vase. Got it. Now I had everything I needed. He wore a charcoal suit, thick glasses, and the kind of expression that made you sit straighter in your chair. His name was Russell Denton, and he specialized in what he politely called high-conflict divorce. I found him through a friend of a friend. He didn't advertise. He didn't need to. Russell listened quietly as I explained everything, how it started, what I found, what I'd recorded. I showed him the screenshots, the bank statements, the footage of the burnt shirt incident. He didn't say a word until I was done. Then he nodded once and said, "You've been very smart. Most women don't think this far ahead." He explained the steps, how to protect myself legally, how to serve the papers safely. He warned me not to give any hints. Men like him, they don't break down gracefully. They explode. We picked a date together, a Friday. I knew his schedule inside and out. That Friday, he had a review meeting at work. He'd been angling for a promotion for months. Kept saying it was finally his time. I smiled and nodded every time he brought it up. That morning, I made him coffee, packed him lunch, kissed him goodbye at the door like always. He texted me around noon. "Big meeting soon, wish me luck." I replied, "You've got this." By 4 p.m., he still hadn't gotten the call he wanted. He came home with a storm cloud over his head, tie loose, jaw clenched. He didn't say much. At 5:15, the doorbell rang. He opened it expecting a package. Instead, it was a man in a crisp blue blazer, holding a thick envelope. "Mr. Carter, you've been served." He stared at the envelope like it was a bomb. "What the hell is this?" he barked. I was standing by the kitchen, arms crossed. "Go ahead," I said softly. "Open it." Inside were the divorce papers. Legal, final, precise, and tucked behind them, bank transfers he'd made to his mistress. Screenshots of their messages, a printed log of his late-night calls, a small USB drive. He looked up at me, pale. "What is this? What is this, Rachel?" "Evidence," I said. He opened his mouth like he was about to argue, but then he saw the logo on the letterhead. My lawyer's firm, one of the best in the state. And just like that, all the fire drained out of his face. "You ruined everything," he muttered. "No," I said. "You did. I just documented it." He didn't reply. He just stood there, holding the envelope like it weighed 1,000 pounds. And for the first time in years, I felt lighter than air. The next few days were chaos. At first, he didn't believe it was real. He called me non-stop, left voicemails yelling, then begging, then crying. One message said, "You're making a mistake." The next one, "I swear to God, Rachel, you'll regret this." Then he watched the footage, saw himself on video, screaming, smashing a bottle, throwing a punch at the wall just inches from my face. After that, the tone changed. He showed up outside the building waiting by my car, told me he just wanted to talk, that we could fix this. I didn't answer. I called Russell instead. "Block his number. Don't respond. Don't meet him," he said. "You've already won. Don't give him a chance to twist it." Still, the messages kept coming, some angry, some pathetic. He tried to guilt me, said I was destroying his career, that I set him up, said it was all just a fight, not abuse, not real, but it was real. And deep down, he knew it. Word got out quickly. Our friends heard both sides, but the evidence spoke louder than anything I could have said. Most backed me without question. A few tried to stay neutral. One or two, mostly his old drinking buddies, called me dramatic, said I was airing private business. I let them talk. His mistress, she vanished. No more babe heart, no more secret transfers. She deleted her socials, blocked his number, disappeared like smoke. I almost felt sorry for him. Almost. He tried to reach out again a week later, this time from a new number. Just a text. "Can we please talk?" I sent a screenshot to Russell. That violation helped us in court. Every time he pushed, he made my case stronger. And every time I stayed silent, I took back a little more power. He kept trying to break through the wall I built, but it was too late. I didn't hate him. Not really. I just wanted to be free. And finally, I was getting there. He walked into court like he still had a chance. Hair slicked back, tie tight, shoulders squared. He looked confident until he saw me sitting beside Russell, calm and quiet, with a thick folder in my lap. His lawyer tried to paint a picture of me that didn't even make sense. Said I was unstable, emotionally abusive, that I manipulated him into outbursts, that I was trying to trap him for money. They even brought up the burnt shirt, as if that justified everything. "He's not violent," his lawyer said. He was pushed. I didn't flinch. When it was my turn, Russell handed me the flash drive. We played the footage. The courtroom was silent as the screen showed him screaming, throwing a bottle, slamming his fist into a cabinet just inches from my head. No cuts, no edits, just raw truth. Then we moved to the screenshots. Texts to his mistress calling me names, mocking me, financial records showing transfers to hidden accounts. Lies layered on top of lies. The judge leaned forward. "Did your client send these messages, Mr. Carter?" she asked. He stammered. I was under stress. I didn't mean..." "And the financial transfers," his lawyer objected, but it didn't matter. The damage was done. We had also subpoenaed the mistress, but she didn't show up. No email, no call, just silence. Probably ran the second she realized court was real. That worked in our favor too. Russell kept it simple. No theatrics, just facts, timelines, receipts. I didn't need to cry or raise my voice. The truth spoke for itself. When the judge gave her ruling, her voice was steady and sharp. "I find the respondent's behavior controlling, deceptive, and emotionally harmful. Based on the evidence, I'm granting full spousal support to the petitioner, an unequal division of assets in her favor, and a 5-year restraining order effective immediately." He went pale. His lawyer muttered something under his breath. I didn't look at him. I just gathered my things and stood. The bailiff handed him the papers. He didn't say a word. He came in thinking he'd win, but he underestimated what it meant to push someone too far. I didn't need revenge. I needed justice. And I got it, right there, in a quiet courtroom, with everyone watching as his world cracked open. The apartment wasn't much, just a 1-bedroom with creaky floors and thin walls. But it was mine. No marble countertops, no smart fridge, no giant flat screen. Just quiet, peace, and a lock that only I had the key to. I didn't bring much from the old house, just a few boxes, some clothes, and Baxter, our golden retriever. He followed me from room to room that first night, confused but calm, like he knew we were finally safe. My job picked up quickly. The remote work that had started as a lifeline became something more. I found a rhythm, took on new clients, got glowing reviews. For the first time in a long time, I was proud of what I was doing. No one watching over my shoulder, no one telling me to quit. My friends came back into my life like sunlight through blinds. Jess brought wine and frozen pizza on moving day. Others dropped by with candles, throw pillows, a second-hand couch. We laughed until 2 a.m. the first weekend, the kind of laughing that leaves your face sore. And slowly, very slowly, I let someone new in. His name was Daniel, a friend of a friend. He never asked too many questions, never pushed, just listened. We started with coffee, then walks, then dinner. No pressure, no games. He always asked if I was comfortable. That alone felt like a miracle. Meanwhile, my ex was drowning. Word got around that he'd lost the house, couldn't keep up with the mortgage on his own. His mistress had blocked him everywhere. His credit was a mess. He kept the debt, just like the judge ordered. I heard he moved in with his cousin across town. Sometimes I'd catch myself wondering if he ever thought about everything he lost. But then I'd look around, at my little living room, my sleeping dog, the coffee on the stove, and realize it didn't matter. I was free. No yelling, no walking on eggshells, no second phone hidden in a drawer. Just one life, mine. And for the first time in years, I could finally breathe. It had been 6 months since the court ruling. 6 months of quiet, of mornings without knots in my stomach, of nights without fights or fake apologies. I had almost forgotten what it felt like to be afraid of my own front door. Work was good. My apartment felt like home. Daniel and I were still taking it slow. No pressure, no rush. Some weekends we hiked. Some nights we watched movies on my little couch. And Baxter loved him, which said everything I needed to know. Then, out of nowhere, it happened. I was scrolling through emails when the notification popped up. A message from an unknown number. You ruined my life. No name. Just that. 5 words. Cold. Blaming. Like always. For a second, I just stared at it. Then I laughed. Quiet. Surprised. Because I didn't feel anything. No fear. No guilt. Just tired of him trying to reach into my life from a distance he no longer had. I typed back, "No. You did." Simple. Honest. Nothing more needed to be said. Then I deleted the entire thread. Blocked the number. Turned my phone on silent and set it down on the windowsill. The sun was setting, casting warm gold across the hardwood floor. I poured a glass of wine, curled up on the balcony with a blanket, and watched Baxter stretch out beside me, eyes half closed, ears twitching in the breeze. There were no more secrets, no more watching my words, no more hiding phones or checking bank accounts in the dark. Just this moment, this peace, this quiet little life I had built out of the wreckage he left behind. It wasn't fancy, it wasn't perfect, but it was mine, and I wasn't giving it up for anyone.